Oh, Jesus.
I miss you guys.
I hope you have another song intro, Jake.
Oh, I could this week because it's basically the same shit, isn't it?
Just sing the same song from the other week.
Well, I didn't have a song prepared, but since you brought it up, let's see. Let's do some improv.
This is going to go poorly.
I've been working on the podcast all the livelong day. I've been working on the podcast just to make some fisting jokes. Can't you hear the audience laughing? No, you can't because they're not there. Can't you hear the audience laughing? Oh God, why do we do this shit?
Oh no.
Anyway.
It's a perfect segue into Pagliacci.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, anyway, welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, the top Star Trek podcast, according to many people, I have heard. People are saying this. So, congratulations for a great choice in your podcast listening whatevers.
Look, we're manifesting.
Yes, we are. We are manifesting.
Putting it out into the universe.
Yep.
5 stars, everyone.
Yeah,
right fucking now.
It's like that book.
Press the button.
That book.
The Secret.
Bible.
I was going to say the Da Vinci Code, but...
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize. I thought you were actually trying to remember the name of The Secret.
I was, and it was a joke.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
It was a terrible joke.
Space Star Ordering.
All right, well, anyway, the secret this week is 2 episodes of Star Trek Voyager.
Woo!
And those 2 episodes are Blink, I'm blinking, of an Eye.
He didn't blink, everyone. He lied.
Yeah,
he lied.
they don't know that. It's all smoke and mirrors. Blink of an Eye and Virtuoso. All right, well...
What's your name?
Oh, my name...
Who the hell are you?
My name, naturally, is the Jake.
And this, per my parents, is Chris.
And this, because my real name is a syllable longer, is Ames.
Y'all can just call me Maestro.
Nice.
Oh,
Sorry.
Wow! That one broke the computer.
Oh, God. All right, well, in blink of an eye, we are joining the CGI Voyager as it travels through space, and they pick up a rather odd planet.
It's a donut.
It's a donut planet, and they're
Delicious.
like, I've never seen a planet like this. Let's go in for a closer look.
Taste.
Which it never, ever goes poorly.
Never goes poorly. Always a good idea.
Yep.
So they do, and then immediately the ship gets stuck in the atmosphere of this weird planet.
What does the planet think about this?
Well, so down on the planet, we're presented with this sort of primitive, that's probably not a great word for it, but like...
kind of...
Early development.
Yeah.
Caveman-ish?
Yeah, kind of like
Neolithic?
that. Neolithic. Yeah, that's a good one. Neolithic society.
Those rocks did look new, yeah.
Yeah. And they're, there's like this guy who's some kind of a priest or a acolyte or some kind of dude. And he's making offerings to the gods that live in the sky. And all of a sudden the ground shakes. There's an earthquake and all of his shit falls down. And he goes, what the fuck? And he looks up and he sees there's a new star in the sky. Oh my God, it must be a new god that doesn't want the other god to get this particular offering. So I will save all of these fruits for the new god and build a whole religion around this new sky god. Back on Voyager, we've decided that we're not getting anywhere. We're not leaving the planet because we're stuck in some kind of temporal eddy or there's tachyons. There's all kinds of shit going on. Who gives a shit? But the point is we can't leave. And when we look down at the planet, seasons seem to be passing like seconds. And it's like, what the fuck's going on? And then we determine that the surface of the planet is in a different time frame than the rest of the universe. And everything on the planet is moving incredibly fast. So, cut to, on the planet, we're now in, like, medieval times. and there's like castles and stuff, and they're like we're gonna send a message up to the sky god and tell him to stop shaking our planet, because as it turns out, Voyager being there is causing massive seismic problems on this planet, and they're gonna send it up in like a hot air balloon, and doesn't work naturally, but yeah,
it's a good idea.
Great idea.
Yeah, it ended up over Idaho. We had to shoot it down.
So anyway, things go more or less like this. I won't go into every little itty-bitty cutaway, but the point is the time on the planet is passing very fast, and like centuries are passing. Meanwhile, Voyager's only been up there for a few hours. But to them, to the people on the planet, this is the sky ship. It's been a part of their society for centuries. And some people think it's like a god. Some people seem to, as time goes on and we get more skeptical viewpoints, people are like, no, it's probably aliens. And
you see this telescope I made?
Yeah, they make a cool telescope. So eventually Voyager's like, man, if we don't do something soon, we're all gonna die. We're gonna crash into this planet because we just doesn't work. So we're gonna send the doctor down there to do some reconnaissance, because he could survive, whereas we would probably die transitioning to that time frame. So we'll send the doctor down, and he can spend, a couple of days just checking stuff out. We'll leave him down there for a couple of seconds. 3 seconds ought to do it. So, of course, the transporter malfunctions.
What?
And he ends up being down there for, I don't know,
3 years.
15 minutes our time.
Oh,
but
that
on
long.
the planet, he's down there for 3 years and has a girlfriend or wife and a kid.
How?
We don't know.
Weird.
It's a long story.
Doc.
And basically he gets back and he's like, oh my God, it's been so long. I've missed you guys so much. Oh God. And I've just totally abandoned my family. But I love being back here with you, and my family's dead.
But don't worry, he's not going to feel that way in an episode from now.
Right. Yeah, and basically he's like, no, they definitely know you're up here, and some people are pissed. Some people think it's cool, but most people are pissed that you're shaking the planet. So, we should probably get out of here. I brought back some data that maybe we can use. Doesn't really help. Gives them a little info. A little while later, the planet people develop space travel, and a space capsule comes up and docks with the Voyager, and the crew board Voyager, and for reasons unknown, even though they're in Voyager, they haven't yet adapted to the time differential yet, so everybody on Voyager appears frozen to them. But then they switch to the right time frame suddenly, and one of them dies, and one of them survives. And Janeway's like, hey, yeah, we're the people that have been in your sky for, a few hours, but, by your time it's been, centuries. And he's like, wow, cool.
Processing this.
Yeah,
everyone I know and love is dead.
Yeah, I've been up here for like 5 minutes, and my whole fucking life is gone. And while he's there, the planet develops antimatter weapons and starts attacking Voyager with those. And they're like, shit, well, we're going to send you back to the planet, dude. And you got to tell him to stop shooting at us and, maybe help us. So he does. And of course, he gets down to the planet, and cut to a couple minutes later, some 2 super advanced ships appear with tractor beams and tow Voyager to safety. And our friend beams back on, not much older, surprisingly, beams back aboard and says, I told him what was up, and we developed this technology, and you're free to go. Bye. And there's a touching final scene where he is an old man, many years later, is sitting on the original rock by which the sky ship was discovered. He looks up and he sees the twinkle of the sky ship fade as Voyager travels off into the
should have been a much
cosmos.
longer fade. The fade should have lasted years.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting episode. It's one of those like,
it's one of those don't think about the science and just enjoy the acting, because Daniel Day Kim is a lot of fun. And like the overall like
the core idea.
The core idea.
It's a great story.
Like archaeologist Chakotay is on the case,
Yeah.
and I love when Chakotay gets to be the archaeologist, which every so often happens. And he's like, "Holy fuck, we can actually see what a developing society looks like."
Yeah.
Not over the course of a lifetime.
I believe it is an anthropologist.
Oh, you're right. Thank you, love.
But yeah, really, I only had, it definitely feels like maybe how much time is passing on the planet becomes a little variable as the story demands, but that's a very minor.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought this was terrific. A really great idea, really well executed. I only had one major problem with it.
One major
problem.
When they cut to the letter, the guy is
Oh,
writing
Yep.
in English.
I thought the same.
Yeah.
And I was like, it could have just been squiggles.
Okay,
Yep.
but if it was just squiggles, I think you would have been mad about that too.
No, I would have
Why?
been fine.
I just think you would have.
I don't think he would.
'Cause-
Unless it was clearly like,
An alien language.
yeah.
Well, that's what I mean by squiggles. They just made up some symbols, slapped them on there.
Yeah, but
Like, you didn't have to cut to the letter at all.
that's
No.
true. That's true. They
So
could have just
you
skipped it.
chose to do that, and then you chose to have English, and I'm just like... But honestly, other than that,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's, I wouldn't call that a major gripe.
Yeah, it took
personally.
me out
Oh,
for like
we paused.
a second.
Chris was really mad. We paused. We rewound.
Oh, no.
Well,
It
you
was a
hadn't seen
major
it.
issue.
I was
Yeah,
very
that's-
upset.
You gotta watch on your own, Caitlin.
No, because then she wouldn't see anything.
That's true. I would just miss all this shit.
Yeah.
You guys
I'm
would
the
be
one that
like,
makes
"Do you
sure she
guys-
actually looks at the
do you
TV
guys see that?
sometimes.
Do you guys see that letter?" I'd be like, "What? Was there a letter?
What show are we watching?
What? Yeah, really. What show is this? Deep Space Nine? Still?
She's great at radio, not at TV.
I'm not really great at radio.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this
Well, you
episode
got the voice for it.
often gets
And the face.
Oh, Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
I'm also sorry,
that joke
Jake.
needed to be made.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like this episode often gets sort of held up as one of the examples of one of Voyager's top episodes, basically.
Yeah. It's just the top on IMDb.
Is it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's kind of, Voyager's,
Yeah, that one with Picard.
yeah,
Inner light?
the flute
inner
people.
light
That's it.
moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a really interesting sci-fi concept that gets you thinking, and it's pretty well executed.
Yep.
I don't think it's as good as Inner Light,
No.
but I
think-
can see how those comparisons could be made.
Unlike, say, Inner Light or even The Visitor, there isn't a single character you follow through, because you can't, realistically.
No, that's true.
But I do love the way they do it. It's like you just keep jumping in a little later, a little
Yeah.
later. Here's this one person who, you get the idea of there's so much more to their story, and we get to see a second of it here.
Yeah, they're little vignettes, and
Yeah.
they're just as big as they need to be without, like... You don't need the, what is your whole society
Right.
like? You need this little moment to see, okay, here's where we are in their development. We get it. These are the kinds of things the people on the planet are talking about. We get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see from, like, Neolithic guy, the sky god, and then the medieval, well, clearly it's not a god, it's another city. I'm scientific, but also you're still kind of afraid of those berries, which I loved.
Yum.
Because you will have that where it's like, it's so funny, you'll see someone, sometimes the most avowed, atheist is still kind of superstitious, and you're like, how's that compatible? But it's a thing that people totally do. And then you've got, the telescope crew there, the observatory crew, where and even, there's already, a generational difference between the slightly older guy and his assistant. Because the guy is like, oh yeah, no, my grandfather was like, oh, that's where bad kids are sent to the sky ship. And the other kid is like, I had the cartoon marketed to me.
Yeah.
I want to see this cartoon. I want to
Same.
see the toys.
I
He
know.
said there were toys.
That's the
Yes.
biggest crime of this episode.
You
is
don't
that-
see the toys.
Is that
Plushy Voyager?
Daniel Day Kim didn't bring back some toys
Oh my god.
as a gift.
I would love
Oh,
him.
that would have been awesome.
Or at least word on EMH's son's legacy.
Because Tom Paris would have the whole fucking set if he could.
Yay.
That's true.
I love it.
Um,
Me too.
But yeah, no, I thought it was just really a great idea, very well done. Sort of time travel without time travel, kind of, in a sense.
Yeah. It was the same because I know when we did our time travel discussion, this one isn't on the list, but I would put this in the same vein as Time Amok.
Yeah.
Because it's still a time weirdness thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely, based on the parameters we allowed for that, this would have been on there.
You allowed for that.
Yes. Someone seconded it, I don't remember who. But yeah, that's the tricky part, though, is it was really
Yeah,
good, but I
yeah.
can't think of much to say beyond, God, that was good.
I thought they should have dumped Naomi down there to age her up so that they could not bother with the child
Yeah.
actor anymore.
Actually,
We'll just dip her in the well for a couple of seconds.
have an in-world explanation for, that old sitcom trope of aging up characters. Or, the DS9 trick
was gonna
where
say, is that what
suddenly
happened?
Alexander was 20.
Just guess ask if that was what happened to Alexander.
Oh man, I wrote anthropologist Chakotay on my card and then said it wrong like a fool.
So, I have 3 possible explanations
2?
for how the doc has a kid.
Yeah, okay.
Either 1, adoption.
Yep.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Really?
2,
He wouldn't care about an adopted kid.
Exactly.
2, he was the Smizmar, The one that inspires the feelings,
Okay,
but
I
is
like
still
that one.
just as valid as the parent because of that.
Nope.
Or 3, that's a really advanced mobile emitter.
That's it. That's the one.
Well, I don't know. I think if it was the Smizmar, I would have expected the astronaut to have not been as surprised that he.
Yeah, no, I genuinely just kind of think he
Should
was
we explain
adopted.
Smizmar?
I mean, yeah, I would say adoption, or it could be that, if his wife or girlfriend or whatever it was had a kid or was pregnant already or something, maybe.
Oh yeah, you didn't mention the stepchild.
Yeah, stepchild adoption,
Nope.
But he would have had to have been there for the, because he was involved in the naming of the kid, because he named him Jason.
Yeah, that's true.
So it couldn't have been a pre-existing child. It had to be a new one.
That's the one thing. I kind of wonder what the hell he was up to when they finally grabbed him.
Fucking,
Yeah, right? Can you imagine,
Fucking obviously.
he was just going out his business, or he's in a large crowd of people and vanished out of nowhere.
Well, Chakotay specifically found him in the opera district.
Yeah,
Yes.
which was great. Wait a minute. Where's the arts center of this city?
Yeah, that was clever.
Where would EMH go?
And would he go to? Maybe he'd go to a hospital. No, he wouldn't.
Because that would be breaking the Prime Directive.
Right.
But also, he'd probably be going out of his mind. Again.
Dialysis. What is this?
Yeah.
The Dark Ages?
Or that, I was going to say, yes, bearskins is so nice. But yes, dialysis, what is it? They wouldn't even have dialysis. Well, they wouldn't. I feel like it was sort of 20th century-ish by the time they might have had dialysis.
Yeah, I wonder what because I'm sure if he had a wife and they were intimate, or girlfriend and they were intimate, he would have had to continue wearing the mobile emitter even when he was naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if he's like, it's an insulin pump.
Yeah, I wonder what the partner there would think of. He can just change. He doesn't take his clothes off because they can't go anywhere because they're him.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering that, though. So when he comes back to the ship...
Yeah, he's got new clothes.
He's got new clothes. So, obviously he changed. And I'm wondering... And they showed the mobile emitter on the clothes, but I think it would have been more realistic if he was wearing clothes over his... if he just had a naked version of himself and wore
clothing,
actual clothes.
Then they'd have to explain that in the episode in some way, because the people would have been like, "Where's his mobile emitter?"
Yeah,
You'd have to see him
true.
take a shirt off. That'd be a scene that just
Shirtless EMH.
we wouldn't have had time for. It would have interrupted the flow to be like, "Oh yes, I actually bought some clothes while I was there."
Yeah, but,
It would have made more sense. You're right.
yeah.
But it would have just totally fucked
Yeah,
with the flow of
especially
the
for
episode.
especially for the cover-up. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going out to buy some clothes, wife, because that's a normal thing people do.
I'm going to eat this food now.
Yum! And then just leads down to the dog.
Or
Little dog with a thing on his head.
I just imagine that he could create a cavity inside
Yeah.
himself to just fill with food and then periodically purge it.
Just opens a little door in his stomach and it's like, Jesus. Uses it for composting.
Yes.
Like Odo being like, it was messy and unsatisfying.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. It's what another spoiler alert? Not that big of a spoiler, but this is one of the episodes that Orville just totally did.
Yeah, just
Oh, really?
lifts the
Yeah.
plot entirely.
Just totally just did this episode.
So they don't just rip off TNG. They
No,
also rip off
they're
Voyager.
equal opportunity. I mean,
Okay.
I think it's first season.
Yeah, first
Orville.
season has a lot more just
Yeah.
outright stealing stories.
So it's kind of like how the first 13 episodes of The American Office were literally just The Office UK
Yes.
with jelly changed to Jello and things like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they did a lot of that in the first season. They gradually kind of found their own stories to tell.
Instead of, the ground shaker in the sky, it's the Kelly, and we built a statue of her, and we've been worshipping her for centuries.
Yeah, it's like a mashup of this episode and Who Watches the Watchers.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say just because this one it's pretty fucking good and there's not a lot I can add.
Yeah.
just go watch it.
It's one of those good
Yeah.
ones that doesn't present a debate, really.
Yeah.
It's just a really solid concept executed really well.
Yeah, I love when, so we get the names, Katana Retz is Daniel Day Kim, and Tarina is the chick who fucking dies.
Yeah.
And I did like them wandering around on the frozen ship, because they don't understand what the fuck it is. They think everyone's in stasis. I kind of wish that they had commented, because, the Voyager, creators went out of their way to make sure Janeway is actively getting a cup of coffee from Neelix, and they're pouring the coffee, and it's frozen in midair, and you can see and notice it, and realize if they noticed it, they would get what's going on immediately. And they could see, but that is not how liquid works.
Yeah, but I think that seeing that is what made them realize that it was.
But then they keeled over.
Then they immediately...
Because they were piecing it together, they're like, all right, stasis, but why does it look like they're just going about their day? And then they get to the bridge, and I think it's seeing the coffee that makes them go, time is just different here.
Yeah.
And honestly, that didn't even occur to me. Like, now that you mention it, it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't work like that. But most people, I think, if you don't mention it, aren't going to realize that,
Which thing? What
the fact that liquid doesn't work like that.
Oh, liquid, yes.
Like, it didn't occur to me like, oh, yeah, no, that isn't how that... But luckily, again, most folks aren't gonna... We're just gonna see the visual shorthand and go, aha.
They didn't call attention to it, though. It's down in the corner.
Yeah, no, it's subtle, which is nice.
Yeah, fair.
Like, that's what I thought, but I assume the same thing. That's what clued him in.
It could have happened at any time, though, because Janeway is just always getting coffee.
Yes. Occurred to me, I think that makes her the first captain since TOS to have coffee on the bridge. Though they did have her act to Gino a lot in the con on DS9, but that's a little different. It's not a bridge.
It's ops.
Ops, thank you.
I thought you were going to say it wasn't really coffee. I thought you were going to say, but that's different. That's not coffee.
Well, it's
Rack
Klingon
Gino.
coffee, which God knows what that actually means.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure Klingon coffee isn't made from coffee beans. It's made from...
The blood of your enemies.
Yeah. Or maybe it is. Maybe Klingons imported some coffee beans from Earth, and then we're like, huh.
And still it with blood.
If we mix it with the blood of our enemies.
Yeah, fertilize it with blood, and then we make something cool.
Something about the nature of just, the difference between Earth soil and Kronos soil just imbues it with a very different quality.
Yeah, because Kronos soil
all the
is
blood.
soaked in blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's right... I can't remember if a drier or damper atmosphere is better for coffee.
This nerd.
I mean, they do it made in the jungle, so
Yeah.
I'm guessing...
Tropical. It likes it tropical.
Usually tropical, so I guess Kronos feels dry. Anyway.
Yeah, so one thing that I was curious about that we don't really get to see much to is, so Retz and what did I say her name was? Tarina, go up there, and they just vanish effectively from their society.
Yeah.
We don't get to learn the name of the planet. Dang it.
Oh,
or
yeah.
any of the people. But what are they thinking down on planet? It's like, well, we sent a thing up there to look at it, and it's just never come back again, and at least 50 years or so have passed on planet.
I mean, it's certainly known about, clearly there's some sort of local discussion of it still, because the person he's talking to on the radio...
The weather lady.
is like, oh yeah, you're that guy, finally back. Sure.
Yeah.
So, people have heard of the
Laika,
mission.
the Russian dog!
But it was probably a huge deal, yeah. It was like that. But, of course, it's interesting that they, from the planet's perspective, they would have assumed that they just failed, disintegrated, or exploded.
Or maybe they got there and the skyship murdered them.
Yeah.
And that's why... Granted, that means, how much time passes between that ship vanishes and our next step is nukes. We don't send something else up there.
Why wasn't there a second try, or maybe an unmanned probe of some kind?
I mean, for all we know, there was, but...
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's the other thing, too. It's everything happens so quickly from Voyager's perspective that there could have been hundreds of probes that just, didn't even register, because they came up, bounced off the hull, and were gone in a microsecond.
They took the specs so they could make the toy, and then left.
Yes.
Right as they were about to be pulled away, you finally see the balloon hove into view.
It's been here all along. Balloon looked kind of like a turd.
Yeah. I do kind of wonder about the Doctor's descendants, and if they learned ever, if there were any, maybe there weren't any, because we don't know, but if there were descendants, maybe if they would have learned that their ancestor was one of the skyship people. Yeah,
because Daniel Day Kim can go down there and be like, okay, has anybody heard of Jason DeVries?
Yeah.
And that someone would be like, that was my granddaddy. And I was like, well, let me tell you something.
Well, your great-granddaddy.
You're an alien.
Interesting if, by the time he got back, Jason was, the top baby name.
Excellent. So I'd like to compare this episode. Where do you guys, think the comparison can be made between this and TOS's Wink of an Eye?
Well, the titles sound a lot alike.
Truth.
Okay, so I was trying to remember if it was TOS or TNG, but yeah, there was that episode where like the whole society was out of phase or something, right?
Yeah, they were fast-moving people.
They like sucked Kirk in, or
They needed something from Kirk. God, I don't remember now. Fuck. Proving my theory wrong. They needed something because they died quickly. If they got injured or something.
that sounds.
Was that them?
Oh yeah. Like somebody got injured and he like rapidly aged and died because of it, or something.
Something strange.
Like getting
that.
injured. Fucked with. I meant to look this up because I had a similar thought and then it just completely slipped my mind.
Another interesting similarity, I guess the reverse scenario of this is... Well, actually, no, it's kind of the same scenario, is Timescape from TNG,
yeah.
where Picard and... Who else was that?
Data
Troy, Data, and Geordi were on the roundabout.
Oh, right, okay.
And they arrive at the Enterprise seemingly mid-battle with the Romulans, but they're in a different time frame.
It's all fucked up because the Romulans run their goddamn ships off tiny black holes because they are the biggest lunatics in the Data Squadron.
Time aliens in
that
had used the Romulan warp core as a
incubator.
Nest.
Yeah.
Right, that's right. And, Jesus Christ, Romulans.
Well, that would have been an interesting connection they could have done. Not the time aliens, but like, you know, they made up some stupid bullshit about, the core of this planet is some kind of tachyon something or other. Yeah. They could have been like, the core of this planet is a singularity. There's literally a black hole at the core of this planet.
I'd buy it.
And that would have made more sense because then you could have. I don't think
science would
scientifically it wouldn't make sense, but you could have definitely pseudoscienced it better by saying that there's time dilation between here and the core of the planet
because of Yeah.
And then you could even say something like, it wouldn't have been necessary for the story, but like Voyager, just by being close to the planet, could have been offset somewhat too. So like when they got back out, they're like, that's weird that the time signal we get from the Talaxians says we were only there for 8 minutes, but we were there for a day and a half.
I know that was... they didn't really make much of it, but I know part of the risk in the episode they mentioned was that if their orbit decayed enough, they would have wound up in unsynced time. That's
why I think it would have made more sense if it was a gradient, and the closer you were to the planet's core. The planet core.
Wow.
Boss Nos?
The closer you were to the core, the faster your time went.
Like just on the ship, like the front end of the ship is faster.
No, I don't think it would have been enough gradient for the ship to have that problem.
But over the course of the episode, you mean?
Well, I don't know. I don't even think it would. I think the episode could have been exactly as it was.
Oh, okay.
Or they could have been like, the probes that we were saying, because one thing I thought was funny is like, when they sent the probe, B'Elanna's like, it's been operating nonstop for years by its time.
Yeah. Interesting. There is actually a Doctor Who where there's a ship that is near a black hole. Near a black hole. I remember that one. You've seen that one, yeah. And it's a pretty long ship, and time is actually moving differently in different parts of the ship because of the part that's closer to the black hole is moving slower, or vice versa. I can't remember
what it was, but there's something. I think. Yeah, because the ship was being destroyed.
Yeah.
So you gotta slowly move to the back, kind of a thing?
Or I think you had to slowly move to the front.
Yeah, because the back was
backing into the black hole.
Because the back of the ship was blowing up.
That sounds right.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
But in slow motion because of black hole.
Which Doctor was this?
It was Capaldi, yeah. It was a good one. There was, I know Capaldi kind of gets shat on, but I don't know.
Does he? I thought people loved him.
I think he's got some of the best episodes.
His first season was mostly weak, I think. But after that, they found their footing and it got a lot better.
There was one, there's just some cool sci-fi episodes like that. There was that one where he was, he had to, I don't remember what it was, but he had to escape from someplace, and he was
Hellbent, that's so good.
Slowly escaping by using something every 1,000 years or something.
Yeah, it also has a really fantastic piece of music by Murray Gold. That's a great episode.
Anyway,
and even his first season,
podcast, but...
his first season also has an exception. A very good episode is the heist.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's first season.
It is. That's the exception to the first season.
It's within the first 5 episodes because that's after I stopped watching. Was like after that episode more.
I thought it was towards the end. Anyway, yes, different podcast.
Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I love stuff like this.
Yeah, it's really
overall. So
and it's really interesting because in a weird way, like it's not really about the Voyager crew, which is appropriate because that's kind of the point. It's about how their influence hits this planet. Literally and culturally.
Yeah, I do. One thing I do kind of wish is that we did get a better sense of how much time had passed on Voyager. Because I think it would have been interesting to, actually, like, because you could buy that it's been weeks or days or even hours. I think.
At least days, because I think the equation they gave was roughly a second per day on planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So. Well, there's 3,600 seconds in an hour.
I was waiting for you to do that.
86,400 seconds in a day. So one day would be 86,400 days on planet. So you'd have to figure out how many.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know how long a year is on the planet, I guess. But we assume it's roughly equivalent to.
But really, how do you measure a year in your life?
But I think it could be here. Let me pop open a calendar. Let's say they say it's been centuries. Let's say 800 years of time on the planet, or more or less.
They may have said roughly 1,000 at one point.
Well, let's go with 1,000.
Nice
round
1,000.
number. So if we say 1,000 years,
and it's 1 day for each 1.03 seconds. If that makes a difference.
Yeah, it makes it more complicated. The bastards.
Yay!
All right, so 1,000 years times 365 days. Well, it's 365,000 seconds.
That sounds wrong.
That's easy. Yeah, that's good math.
No, I don't believe it.
86,400. So that's roughly like 4.25-ish days
For Voyager days.
for Voyager days for them to have been there for 1,000 years.
I buy it.
So less than a week.
Yeah, enough time for word to pass, because I know Naomi wants to write a report on it.
Yeah.
I feel like if it were just like earlier that day, it would be like there was no information to pass to you yet.
What's funny is Seven was making fun of her title for being too complicated. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: where I work, I often see displays. For like.
Scientific papers have the longest fucking titles.
Their titles are just summaries.
Yes.
Those people do not know how to just make a snappy title. I was like, no, actually, that's the most accurate thing the show has ever done.
So I want to know, right? So Naomi's the only child on the ship. So presumably she's the only student in her class.
Yeah.
Is there a teacher that's teaching her? Is
she on the maybe
or
she's taught on the holodeck?
Is it Flotter? Is Flotter her teacher?
Maybe.
She's learning from Quark.
I wonder though. That's an interesting thing. I bet you they could do, if this is not what they've done, is just like create a school in the holodeck that's just like a regular school, and even
with
create
fake classmates
classmates
to pick on her.
That brings imaginary friends to a whole new level.
That's true, but
I feel like that would be psychologically damaging to a young
it
child.
might be, but at the same time,
So is being the only child on a
she's
ship.
got nobody her own
she's
age
friends
to
with
socialize
Seven,
with.
who mentally is her own age, kind of.
Nope.
No,
She has the social
Emotionally,
abilities.
yeah.
Fine, emotionally then, not mentally. Emotionally.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I think I wonder what would be more harmful: having her have only artificial holodeck friends, or not having any friends her own age at all.
I still think it would be the holodeck version.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is,
because you can't because she eventually falls in love with someone.
I mean, I think
and on the holodeck,
if she goes in knowing though that they're fake, like maybe that
Doesn't
helps
stop Reg.
avoid.
But what if she
really
fell in love with
matters.
someone on the holodeck and then just changed them to be more like something that she really?
Oh well, that
Exactly.
sounds healthy and normal.
Yes. A couple centimeters taller, please.
Yes.
Nice. More beard. Ugh.
Okay, let's.
You get onto the holodeck, so it's like parent-teacher day on the holodeck, and Naomi's mom walks in, and it's like, okay, these are the other students, and there's just like a bunch of kids, and then there's like a super hunky dude, and she's like, oh, is this your teacher? Oh no, that's Billy. He's my age.
But he's like, it's Bill. It's a super hunky dude, but he's like scaled down to the size of a kid.
Yes,
Oh, weird.
He's like a 6-year-old with a full beard.
Hello, Mrs. Naomi's mom. I'm Billy.
Wildman.
Yes.
Yes, the school's mascot would have to be the Wildcats.
Or it's just Flaughter.
Souls.
Yes, the Flotters. Anywho, shall we proceed, or anything more on Time of the Wink?
The only thing I have to say is, like, they did briefly discuss the Prime Directive, and Tom was like, it's already pretty fucked, and like, it's fucked. Don't worry about it.
There's no unfucking it, because it's been like this for centuries.
It's not just the fact that they've been there and that the people have seen them and know that they exist and think that
they're
they're gods.
Driving force in a lot of ways.
It's driven forward their society, as the Doctor even said, and plus they're actively damaging the planet.
Yeah.
There's a scene when Voyager like briefly attempts to escape and it causes a massive earthquake. And in 7, we only get it from 7's perspective, which is unfortunate because she's like, no major damage. But for all we know, it's like no major damage to 7 is like only 12.7 million dead,
No major damage. Meanwhile, like, their whole historical district is just flattened.
Yeah, it's like only one of the continents fell into the sea.
But despite all the earthquakes, that little fucking altar survived. So sturdy altar.
Yeah, very sturdy. Cool.
Also, really solid architecture, literally.
Yeah, well,
they mentioned that at one point. Like, they use a surprising amount of iron in their architecture. And it was like, well, because they always have earthquakes.
I think the one thing that I thought was a little unrealistic is that they had those advanced ships with the tractor beams, in that they had them in enough time between when the astronaut got back to be able to yank the ship out, and he wasn't seemingly much older.
If they'd aged him up like somewhere between where we saw him first and then where we saw him at the very last scene, somewhere in between.
Yeah. Just
so you can know, like, this was kind of his life's work. He was like, I volunteer to be the guy that gets beamed in there, unless... Because is that him, or is that a projection of him?
Well, that was what I was thinking. I would have missed the last scene with the old him looking up at the ship. But I kind of would have liked it if he said, when Janeway was like, oh, blah, 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 I'd love to ask you questions or whatever. And he's like, oh, no, I can't. It would have been interesting if he was like, because I am just the man that you know has been dead for decades. And I am just a projection of him.
Yeah, we wanted to show you something you'd recognize.
We used technology. We used the Doctor. This is technology developed by Jason fucking Face.
DeVries or whatever.
Jason fucking Face, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I think that would have been interesting. Although the timing is interesting. The way that they did it is where, like, Voyager is under active attack. Like, they're about to be destroyed just before the ships appear. The Deus Ex tractor beam appears. And it's like, oh, okay. Interesting. I liked it.
I liked it.
I like the show a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up, Virtuoso. All right.
Now hit that high note, Jake.
That's right. All right. So, next up on Voyager, we have Virtuoso. In this episode, we're on the Voyager as usual, and we found out that we've picked up some people who had a damaged ship, and they're all being treated in sick bay, and they're very rude. They think that, they come from a technologically superior race, and they are shitting on everything on Voyager. Oh, your fucking hologram is bullshit. I don't want to be treated by this piece of inferior technology. And this ship is a garbage scow. Should be hauled away as garbage. And it's all not going very well. And then the doctor starts humming a little ditty. And they perk up, our guests. And they're like, what is that? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm just singing a little song. And they're like, sing? Tell us about this sing. And as it turns out, these folks are from a planet and a race of people who are very, very like mathematically and scientifically oriented and zero art or culture. That's pretty much all they do is the math and science and technology, but nothing art. So they've never heard of music. And
Explains why their clothes are so drab.
yeah, they have drab clothes and poorly acted women and
Really bad.
Oh my lord.
but they're absolutely taken with this concept of music, and specifically with the doctor's performances. So they're like, listen, we don't do this. We're usually a pretty clothed. We're usually a pretty clothed society, but would you like?
Yikes.
No, we're a closed society, but we'd like to invite Voyager to visit our planet because we want to introduce, everyone on our planet to the Doctor and his amazing music. So Voyager's like, yeah, sure, we'll go. And yeah, that's exactly what happens. They have a little recital where Bae Kim tries to do the entertaining and with some music, and they're like, this ain't the Doctor.
Poor Harry.
And there's a lot of great scenes of basically these people falling in love with the Doctor.
Great scenes, you say.
He becomes an instant celebrity on the planet. He's got fans, adoring fans, the women that want to throw their clothes on the ground for him and
show them their clitoris foreheads.
Yes, exactly. Modesty be damned. Touch my forehead.
Modesty be damned. Touch my forehead.
So yeah,
Yikes.
and he becomes a hit.
Not the title.
He has them creating like little mini replicas of him to have in your house to sing. He does a recital in this giant concert hall that they built for him, and it's all going well. And then he kind of gets a girlfriend, sorta. There's a woman that shows a lot of interest in him, and she even writes him a song to sing, but it's impossible for him to sing because she's like, oh, it based it on some math bullshit, and he's like, oh, cool. But anyway, she's like, listen, I want you to stay because you've enriched my life so much. Please stay on the planet, abandon Voyager. And he goes to Janeway. He's like, Janeway, I'm resigning. And she's like hell you are. You're the fucking toaster.
Which he loves.
And then we have a little debate about his rights as a sentient being and being artificial. And of course, Janeway, she comes close to Tuvixing him.
Oh yeah, I loved that scene. She really had. Mulgrew went from Mulgrew face to I must murder Tuvix face.
Yes, but she realizes the hypocrisy eventually and is like, okay, fine, you can go if you really want to. Just make sure Tom can do everything you can. So yeah, he's getting ready to go. He's saying all of his goodbyes. He goes to say goodbye to Seven, who's very, very hurt that he's leaving.
Pretty much the only person who's hurt.
Well, I think the thing is, I think kind of everybody else might have not expected him to go through with it, except Seven, who's just I think she's very emotionally invested in the Doctor, whereas everybody else is kind of like, he's not going to go.
Yeah. Janeway's main complaint is, he serves a purpose.
Yeah. Whereas Seven's like, my friend. So he goes, he's all ready to go. He beams out of the planet and he goes to see his girlfriend, and she's like, oh, guess what? Great fucking news.
I built a sex doll of you.
Yeah, I built another one of you that's even better.
He can sing all these notes.
And he's like, what? She's like, yeah, we don't need your inferior ass anymore. We got this guy.
And this one found the clitoris.
So you can
go my forehead.
So you can stay on Voyager, and we'll have music that we love. And he's like, oh. And then he gets to give his final performance after deciding that no, he's not going to go, or not stay. He is going to go, I guess. And at this final performance, he does his song, and it's really touching. And even the Voyager crew, who is kind of nonplussed by his performance up to this point, even they seem moved by his final performance. However, the shitheads on the planet are like, been there, done that.
Where's the math?
So they are not too whatever.
Nonplussed?
They're nonplussed. I was trying to say not too impressed, but in my brain kept wanting to say nonplussed. So
They're not too plussed.
they're not too plussed. But of course they love the new and improved singing hologram Doctor.
Naturally.
Yeah, and then they leave. Doctor's a little sad, but then he makes up with Seven when she writes him a very, very cute love letter. I mean, fan letter.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, the ending is very cute, considering I thought Seven was out of character the entire fucking episode.
Really?
You want to start there?
Sure.
Me shitting on the Seven scenes?
Shit on it.
Okay, first Seven scene we get that I need to shit on. And then we can talk about whatever else you people want to talk about.
You people.
Janeway has to... okay, we're getting fan mail from Planet. Seven assumes that it's some kind of cyber attack.
That I thought was
that
pretty
was
funny.
really
And
hilarious.
Janeway has to come in and say, Seven, this is fan mail to the Doctor. You wouldn't understand. Let me explain what fans are to you. Which seemed like Seven would understand, and I don't know why we needed to explain what fans are to Seven.
Meanwhile, Kate Mulgrew's like, see, I get this bag of fan mail from Star Trek fans every week, and like...
If that was the subtext, Jesus
and
fucking
then-
Christ.
And then,
Seven
Seven's
backs
like,
up
yeah,
like
the-
a whole garbage truck. This is what I get every day.
And that's just the lewd ones.
Oh. Well, to
Garrett
be
Wang
fair,
comes
the
in.
non-lewd ones are like a very small stack of like 7 or 8.
Garrett Wang comes in with his like shoebox.
I've gotten these over the last 5 years.
Yeah, this is Seven's daily dump truck
Yeah.
of fan mail.
Well, I don't know.
Seven's daily dump.
I
truck.
feel like this is an oddly meta episode of Star Trek.
Okay,
Because-
I'll buy that.
Because there, like, it during that whole scene with Janeway and Seven, it very much to me read with a wink, like, you know,
This is Mulgrew being able to say,
Not
everyone
just-
loves Seven. Why not me anymore?
not just.
I
I
was
don't know
the
about that.
captain.
I think it's more.
I think it's more the writers making it, because like the scene, there's a great scene when the Doctor is having his fan convention.
Yeah,
And there's people lined up, and there's men who have shaved heads.
I
Yes,
love that.
that was
look
good.
like
That
him,
was
and it's-
amazing.
I love
it's
them.
fantastic. And I'm like, this is a Star Trek convention.
They were kind of doing Galaxy Quest a little.
Yeah, well, and Galaxy Quest is parodying
Yeah.
the Star Trek
Those
convention.
No, I know.
poor people.
I even said, and I know he doesn't because I've seen pictures, but I really wish Picardo had gotten a robe like that to wear to conventions.
He did look good in that robe. I kind of want that robe.
So yeah, I mean, I think
went looking for one. They are expensive.
Oh, they exist,
Oh, wow.
though. Where'd you find it on Etsy?
No, it was some site I'd never heard of. It was like luxury clothing that even the cheapest item was well out of my range.
but yeah, I don't know. I feel like this episode does have a meta quality
Little bit,
to
yeah.
it, and I
Okay,
think
okay.
I think that the writers,
Everything was very tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
yeah, it is. It's
You
very.
know how much I enjoy fun.
But again, I don't think it was fun at the expense of a good story. I think it was still a good
I don't know.
story.
I was gonna say, what do you think, Ames? Ames is the...
When I can get distracted thinking, like, this isn't how Seven acts, like, it's like season 3, 7. Let me explain to you how people act when they like something another person's done. And it felt wrong.
Like, I think her thinking at first it's some sort of attack would have made sense.
But then she would have listened to one
and been like,
and figured it out.
for Christ's sakes.
Like, Seven would have figured it out without Janeway telling her, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, that I would agree with. I
And
feel like
then-
her initial reaction does make sense.
Okay, I'll guess.
But
True.
then it's like, she would have been like, oh, for the love.
Yeah, I wanted that scene instead of Janeway having to come in and say, like, oh, Seven,
You silly goose.
you haven't learned anything in the several years you've been on this show.
I wish they had played it a little bit more, maybe like Seven did know what was going on, but was maybe jealous of the situation.
I don't think Seven gets jealous.
You
Like,
know-
she's so passive-aggressive in that scene with the Doctor, and she's never like that otherwise.
You know how they could have had that scene and still had it could have had the conversation by simply having it Seven's in Astrometrics. Sees is like, uh-oh, it's a thing. And she's like, oh, wait, never mind. And Naomi's there. And it's like, what's going on? Because Naomi, again, being the only child on the ship with maybe weird socialization, isn't actually aware of, like,
Fan culture.
fan culture. And so you could have had someone say, all right, So people get dumb about celebrities. It's called
This one-
parasocial relationships.
This one is sending nudes to EMH.
Oh, you know they were too.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
That scene, the scene with the two women.
The
Oh, God,
floozies.
yeah.
Oh,
the
God.
floozies.
The floozies.
and,
Well, they were. I mean, I'm not denying what you say.
They were there for a gynecological exam.
oh God.
From the inside? No, wait, it's always from the inside. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll see myself out.
Also, though, speaking of meta, just having Paul Williams play the leader of a society that doesn't know what music is.
So what else is Paul Williams?
He's mostly a musician.
I was gonna say he's known
he's
for
done some
he's known
acting.
for music.
He actually did a lot of work with the Muppets back in the 70s.
Oh, nice.
He also was on the Muppet Show. He has a cameo in the Muppet movie, which I think he wrote music for. But he's mostly a musician. But he's done some acting. He's in a very weird psychedelic 70s version of Phantom of the Opera.
What?
Yeah, Phantom of the Paradise.
He's in that?
Mm-hmm.
Who is he?
I'm pretty sure. I think he's the guy that owns the place.
He's the Phantom. Oh.
But also, what's kind of funny is because I remember that it was very noticeable that the initial group of aliens, Komar, all sort of shorter actors. I was like, oh, that's funny. And then Paul Williams comes in like, oh, that's why, because he's famously
Short.
rather a short gentleman, referenced even in his appearance on the Muppet Show.
I think having them be kind of diminutive was, it was a choice.
Oh yeah,
And I think that
Made their architecture make no sense.
true.
But also, like, I like that it wasn't. It was just, like, it wasn't. That was just how they looked, and it wasn't played for laughs.
Yeah, but I do kind of wonder if it was at least partly driven by having Paul Williams,
It
or if
meant
that had always been.
Well,
the
here's
idea.
the thing: like, if they had all been like average height people, and then their leader is this short man, that might have been seen as
Yeah.
a joke. So maybe having them all be kind of short was sort of the way to not let that be a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also let us have another very, very brief, like, blink and you miss it, blink of an eye, and you miss it, cameo that I paused the screen and played the guess who that actor is, Jake, game with.
Oh.
There is one of the background people on Voyager during the Kim Tones concert, who is having the time of his life when Doctor is singing. If you freeze the screen for when he's on screen laughing, maybe I'll share a still. We'll see. But it was our good friend Trent from Angel One.
Yeah, he was like the manservant.
Okay, yeah.
With the
Holy
one peck
shit,
out?
Yeah. Wow.
Who also played OG Lal.
Yeah, Lal.
That's
Lal
right.
before she had a body.
Right. Holy shit! I forgot he was also
Yeah,
Lal.
so it was nice to see him.
Oh, that's nice.
It was not nice to see whoever the hell was playing Tin Ku.
Oh God,
Oh,
she
boy.
was
Not very good.
heinous.
She took me out of the episode every time because I did not think the Doctor would want to stay with
How
her.
did they like? Did the director? Like when you were directing this show, you had to have known that she was awful.
So that
right?
was like at first I thought they were all a bit stilted, but she really ran with it.
Yeah, like the first scene, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're just being dicks. This is what they act like when they're
Yeah,
being
because it seemed
smug.
like she was being patronizing.
Yeah. But then she didn't stop.
Right.
And then she
Yeah.
was doing these just, I'm reading a line, Doctor, kind of lines.
Well, it got a little better. I still think that the idea was that she was being a patronizing bitch in that first scene.
Oh
But
yeah,
she
yes,
just,
it was.
but she just wasn't much better than that, actually.
No.
So it was a bad choice.
Well, I kind of wonder though if maybe they never told her to stop doing that.
That was kind of like it's weird.
But yeah, it took me out as well. It took what I think is a pretty decent episode and kind of like put a black mark on it for me.
Oh, another thing that stood out to me is when the Doctor's arguing for his rights to self-actualization, which is fair.
Yeah, that was a good argument.
Terrible example, though.
What was the example?
If Harry Kim fell in love with somebody, it's like, did you not see that episode, Doc?
That
You
has
were
happened.
in that episode, Doc!
We were going to leave him on planet with those women who wanted to suck his soul.
Oh, I didn't mean that one.
Oh, the other
The
one.
disease, where he literally is like, I want to be with this woman, and Jane was like, no, you're my special little boy.
I don't know, but on the other one, I can't think of the name of it. The one where
Yeah,
It's
with-
like
when-
Favorite Son or
They-
That's the one, yeah.
There we go,
Favorite
yeah.
Son.
It's actually just called Favorite
It's
Son?
called
It
Favorite
is,
Son.
yeah.
You
I
got it.
remembered the name of
You
an
got
episode
it,
that you
Caitlin.
didn't remember?
Point to Caitlin.
Holy shit. I'm finally on the board. 6 years
yes.
in.
They were going to leave him there.
That's true, they were. I forgot about that one. But that other one was more recent. It's like, ooh, Doc, of all the examples to choose.
Yeah.
I do kind of, it's to me kind of a bummer that, like, again, like, I feel like the 2 recent times we've had real big discussions about the Doctor's sort of...
Daydreaming?
Yeah, but the stories about his humanity or sentience or independence or whatever. Agency are always couched in these kind of comedy episodes.
They are.
We haven't had a serious one yet, and I feel like it...
We will.
Yeah.
Good, because it kind of takes away from, like, no, this is really... We should be having this discussion. And I feel like Janeway still really mostly thinks of him as an appliance.
Yeah, and this was such a comedy episode. Like, so many little moments were done with the kind of comic timing, comic framing. Like, anytime, they did this so many times that I wanted to scream. Anytime someone does something kind of eyebrow raising, the scene is the shot is always, it's a row of people, and the first person in the row is in focus, and then whoever's at the end of the row leans forward with an incredulous look on their face, and then the camera changes the word I'm looking for. Sharpness? Focus. Changes the focus to that person so that it looks funny that this person has entered the frame looking incredulous. And they did it 15 times.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't notice it, but I'm sure if I had, I would have been like, you did this already.
They did a lot.
Couple times. Please stop.
And I have to say, I didn't mind it, but Kate Mulgrew was hamming it up. Something fierce. When it outside of that scene with the Doctor, I mean, that scene she was very serious.
Give us an example of when she was hamming up.
Well, when they first get to the planet and they're they're hailed by the leader and he's being condescending. She responds in kind. She kind of plays into it. She's like, oh well, we'll be very careful, or whatever it was. It was. I don't know. I think it looked like Kate Mulgrew was having a good time.
Yeah, no, she seemed to be enjoying herself.
And needless to say, Robert Picardo was having the time of his life.
Yes. Oh my god.
The duet with the tiny him was amazing.
Oh,
that was
great. So cute. I loved that.
Him in the clown outfit was somehow amazing.
No, I didn't love that.
I don't know. I think he pulled it off.
Oh, that blew my mind. So, apparently, the Doctor can just go in and fuck with his personality subroutines all he wants without special permission.
Can he?
Yeah, because he keeps fucking with his programming without telling anybody.
Okay.
He Dr. Jekylled himself that time. He wrote himself a daydream subroutine.
And yet every time it happens, we yell at him about it.
Right, but they don't restrict him from doing that. But as we found out, this is actually I think the last episode, so I should have said it then, but still, B'Elanna needed to enable him the ability to change his facial features. It's like, wait a minute. You're telling me this guy can change his core programming all he wants, but his face is behind security.
Well, I wonder if maybe
fuck, Starfleet?
That's a Zimmerman, though.
They may have put some...
That's a good point.
Some restrictions on him after maybe the daydreaming incident,
maybe
I hope so.
Locked out some of his
fingers
functions.
crossed.
No, but see, I just like your explanation.
Zimmerman made it impossible to change
because it's Zimmerman's ego. That's the one thing he locked down.
I mean, the other thing is, I wonder if what B'Elanna was doing was not necessarily maybe it's more work. He could still do it, but it would take more work because she wanted it. She made it so that he could change his appearance instantaneously,
so that he could blend in.
Yeah,
without even thinking about it.
He can kind of...
He gave him chameleon powers.
Ooh.
Which maybe they didn't turn off, and that's why he was able to change outfits so quickly.
Well, no, I think he asked her to do that in this one. He asked for a quick change subroutine. Because she was making a face like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right, I remember that.
I have, real work to do.
Right.
Yeah, I thought...
All I know is Klingon drinking songs or whatever the fuck.
Which, I'm sorry, Doc. You know what she feels about Klingon stuff. She knows Earth drinking songs. I wonder how much debate there was between having Kim come up and do jazz and having Tom go up with a Fender to do rock and roll. Then they realized there was no rock and roll in public domain.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. They couldn't afford rock and roll. They had to go with whatever was free.
Which is why Doc was singing fucking... What was it?
I've been working on the railroad.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, I do kind of wish they'd sprung for some good songs, but... Also, I think the last song, the aria at the end, I think that's the one that is the only one that gets dubbed. Otherwise, it's Picardo all the time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, I thought he didn't do either of the opera pieces. It was
At
clear
least
that he
one
was
of
doing
them.
the rest of the
You mean
singing,
the one that was the fake Doctor, the new Doctor, or the one that he sang?
The Italian aria. It translates to the swallow's nest, but I don't know Italian.
And that was that. So that was not him singing, or
that is someone dubbing. I could tell when because I was listening.
Well, it was definitely. I assumed it might have been 80 yard.
No, it was definitely that because the sync was a tiny bit off.
Yeah, but I didn't realize it was another performer too.
No, I'm impressed though because I figured even the earlier one might not have been him either, just because it was like I know he does some real singing, but I wasn't sure if he did that level of stuff.
He should have done the Tuvok. I understand.
What was that? The Marriage of Figaro?
Yeah.
I think so. God, the song New Doc model at the end.
Oh,
so ugly.
It was so bad.
But they were nuts for it
Whoa,
because
that's beautiful.
They're just fucking weird math people.
I think the other sort of
Sing pie. All right.
yeah. Oh yeah. All the letters that are like how many digits of pi can you recite? Where I got a kick out of that.
It's
Too.
like,
Okay, yeah,
computer.
that's their way of hitting on people.
Yeah.
But like the fact that it came up twice, like it came up in the fan letters that Seven was reading, and then one of the floozies.
That was her letter.
The floozies! Yeah, that's what I assumed too, actually. It was probably just...
No, I like to assume that like that is considered one of the most attractive things you can be.
Oh, it's the most erotic thing imaginable.
That's this culture's version of did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
Yeah, pretty much.
Lines.
Yeah. She's a 10, but she only knows pi to 16 digits. Or, you know.
She's a 3.14.
Yeah.
There was also a good EMH joke, but the more I think about it, the more it doesn't make sense because these aliens aren't speaking English, so puns don't work in their language. Because the joke was, I'm going to sing something that's inspired by trigonometry or something like that.
Yeah.
Notice the trigonometry in the jazz or some shit, but I'm going off on a tangent. Really good joke.
It's a great
liked
joke, and it landed too with that
But
audience.
it doesn't make sense unless their English works the same way. Their language works the English.
We've been watching Star Trek for a long time.
We have.
And you should know by now
Damn it,
that the
learned.
universal
Hasn't
translator translates puns somehow so that they make sense.
It does a great job, too.
Because anytime someone does a pun, it always lands.
The translator is just, you should laugh at this. It's funny.
Yeah. What it does is it translates it to an equally funny joke that would make sense to you.
That could be it.
That is. I've read.
That's how they have to do with a lot of anime, right?
Which means
I've read notes from translators, and one of the hardest things is translating puns, especially if the bastards have a visual element too, and then it's just like, oh no! I quit. Actually, I was just reading that I don't remember exactly what it was, but someone recently stepped down from translating a Japanese comic because there were just too many really complex puns, and they're like, I don't know how to make this work. I just have to completely rewrite it.
Add a footnote and just say, in Japanese, this also means this.
The thing is, they sometimes do that, but I think the problem is you would just literally have had to have had the whole book over again in this case, because it was just so laden with puns.
So I know I mentioned that it was kind of a meta episode in the sense that like you could apply a lot of what was happening with the Doctor to just Star Trek fandom in general, or just fandom in general.
Yeah,
I think the other kind of meta message is about fame is fleeting. And,
Yep.
and having humility. There's another scene that I really enjoyed from a comic perspective was the scene between him and Janeway in the mess hall during his fan convention.
Yeah. Get to the back of the line, Janeway.
And when Janeway makes a joke making fun of him, I can't remember what the joke was now, but there's this one where he's like, "Oh, it was very much like somebody that is so full of themselves and thinks that their shit don't stink."
Well, he was calling her Catherine. I mean...
Oh yeah.
Yes.
No, I meant Captain.
Or yeah, no, I remember what the joke was. It was, I guess I'll just call you Maestro, and he's like, ha ha ha, oh you. Yeah, that or Doctor, either will do. Yeah, so I thought that that was funny too. And then like the downfall. I felt bad for him,
even though the whole episode he's being this haughty dick.
Yeah.
Well, because I think part of it is that for all that he is being a haughty dick, he does genuinely think this woman's into him, and he's into her.
He wasn't acting.
And so it's not just that it's one thing to lose fame, but he's also kind of had his heart broken.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it. That's what keeps it from just being like, "Ha, good, you idiot." It's kind of like, no, there was a moment of genuine affection he thought he had, and he lost that. And again, the EMH just his relationships don't go well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did think, even if you say that Seven may have been out of character or some in this episode, I still like that last scene.
Oh yeah, the last
and
scene
the letter.
when she writes him the letter. Yeah, if we had fixed that one moment that I called out earlier, the fan mail ending is worth it because it is a very nice moment.
I loved it.
Oh, I also love. Oh man, Janeway gets a great zinger off. Here's my favorite line of the whole fucking episode. You've taken off your tails and put them between your legs. I see.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I'm like, Janeway zinged.
Man,
amazing.
way to kick a man while he's down.
Actually, that was a question I had. Does he technically have a commission to resign? He has a post he can resign.
Yeah, I don't think because he's not an officer.
No, he doesn't have pips.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's never. But that's
Except when he's the ECH.
Well, that's the exact thing, though. I mean, he is
And
a
he
piece of
begged for that
equipment.
command. Son of a bitch.
It's just like it's just Measure of a Man again. It's like, okay, yes, no one is disputing that you are not a human. Like you're not. You are a thing. The question is whether you are a thing that is owned or whether you are your own thing.
Does any AI art creation belong to the computer? Actually, that's pretty interesting because when they make their own doc and decide this one's the one now. It's like they made their own chatbot.
It would have been great if Star Trek ever did what we suggested and they had a JAG on board. They could have sent a cease and desist letter to the.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is copyright infringement. That doctor is
Starfleet property.
That is a Zimmerman original. You can't copy that.
That's what it's finally going to be. Like, now that they need to fill in the gap left by Discovery, it's going to be Starfleet JAG.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, it'd be about fucking time.
One thing I didn't understand is that they imply earlier in the episode that there's going to be some kind of exchange of technology.
Oh, yeah.
And it never came about.
Maybe they considered those little mini doctors the exchange.
Yeah, there it is.
No, I think that's just something that they forgot to follow up on.
Yeah.
Because you can imagine that these people, being as advanced as they are, could probably help Voyager in some way.
I don't know. The other technology we gave to the Komar is how to clap. Because they had no idea.
And they fucking loved it.
Oh my god,
they were so into it.
But they learned fast. They went from Thermian to like... straight up.
It's the historical documents.
Yeah. Yeah, I think... So this episode would have... You said this came out in 2000?
Yes.
I wonder where this... Because Galaxy Quest also came out in 2000.
I thought Galaxy Quest was 99.
Or maybe... Was it? I don't remember now.
This
Maybe
is
it was
January 2000.
Maybe it might... You're right. It might have been 99.
Yep. Galaxy Quest was 99.
Okay.
December 25th, 99, though. So, like...
Oh, okay. So
this end of the year.
Yeah.
This was a coincidence.
Yeah, I was going to say. Because
they were working on both simultaneously.
There's some interesting similarities
It's
with that culture and the Thermians.
Yeah, it's kind of like Birdman and the single-shot episode of Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good episode.
Contemporaneous.
Which is funny because they also both did the
Charlie work. Good
jazz
episode.
thing,
too.
Which it's like, wow, I mean...
Well, that's why everyone assumed that
it was
Always Sunny had ripped it off. Or like was parody.
But yeah, no, it was just they'd been working on it at the same time. It's like, that is so weird.
Or Deep Impact and Armageddon.
Yeah, except...
Those times there were 2 mall cop movies.
Yeah. Except with, with Birdman and Always Sunny, both were good. Unlike most of these other convergent where either one was good, one was bad, or both were bad, like the mall cop movies.
I have not seen the Malkat movies. I have seen both of the Asteroid movies, and I would say Deep Impact is the superior movie.
See, that's the thing. I feel like Armageddon is the one that got remembered.
Well, it's because it had the Aerosmith song.
Yeah.
You know, that is
I was just going to say it was the
Tyler.
song.
So
Yeah, it had
I
bigger
think
names.
people just assume it was the better one because it's the one that kind of did better, but I've never seen Deep Impact, to be honest.
You haven't? It's not great. It's not going to win any awards, but it's solid.
Is that the one where we see Denise Crosby do something, or am I thinking of a different thing?
I don't think Denise Crosby's in that.
What the fuck am I thinking of?
I believe that is that terrible 80s Terminator knockoff Rotor.
No. There was one with a giant tidal wave.
There's a giant tidal wave in Deep Impact.
Am I thinking of somebody
You might
else?
be thinking there's a woman in that movie. And I can't remember the actress's name. It's not Denise Crosby, but she looks kind of like Denise Crosby.
Fuck, I wonder who it is then.
Which one's Denise Crosby? Tasha Yar?
Tasha Yar. Let me look it up. I don't, unless I'm totally misremembering this
Watch
movie.
it. It's gonna be Denise Crosby, and I'm gonna laugh.
You can laugh if it's Denise Crosby. It is Tia Leone.
What?
Why do I know that name?
Because she's an actress, and she was in the movie Spanglish and Jurassic Park 3.
2 films that Chris is very fond of.
But yeah, I mean, she does have kind of a
Denise Crosby is in Deep Impact, so I am thinking of Denise Crosby.
Oh.
It just might be as a different character than one you were thinking of.
What is she in that? Oh, you're right. She was in that.
Hey!
She plays Elijah Wood's mom, I think.
Neat.
Listen,
You
I just
were
want to
right,
say
okay.
we already literally confirmed that she was in it, so.
Yeah, but now
But
I'm
I'm glad
who she was.
But I'm glad that Jake put his seal on it. Oh yeah,
we can
you're right.
both-
She was.
that way we're both right.
No. You're right. I'm not saying I was incorrect, but I was thinking of a different character from the movie and forgot that she was the.
I'm like, no, Ames, that's Elijah Wood.
Yes.
More like Elijah wouldn't.
Hey, she's an episode of Frasier.
Hey, speaking of Denise Crosby, I'm going to move us on. Hey, I found the segue. I did it. There wasn't going to be one this episode. I was like, oh shit, there's not going to be a good segue, but I found it. Speaking of villains, someone from TNG killed the fuck out of Tasha Yar. Certainly not going to be on our favorite villain list.
And then she came back as a villain.
Wait.
He was the thing was barely even a fucking villain. It was a puddle.
So I have to change my list then?
Is Armis your number one?
Armis is all 3.
Yay! Alright, so fans will remember, listen back last week. If you missed last week, we talked about our favorite Star Trek characters. This week we're going to focus it slightly more and talk about our favorite Star Trek The Next Generation villains. Of which, we got some good ones. There's a whole bunch of good villains in TNG. Who's jumping to go first? I'll go first. Fuck it. Done.
Right.
Doing it now. Because I got some very obvious answers for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Q.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Fucking obviously, because I also love Q. I love John Delancey. They do a great job. Any episode where Q comes in is a favorite of mine. Fight me, Liz. Number 2, gonna give it to my girl Borg Queen.
She's not in TNG.
Sure.
I'm gonna
One of the
count
movies.
First
We're
Contact.
counting movies. Ah, shit.
Is that-
Well, I guess Raffo's back on the menu.
No. No, I love Borg Queen. She is so neat for a villain. She has a definite agenda, and she uses it to bang the shit out of Data. Respect. And I'm gonna give my number 3 to Gul Madred, because I thought, torturing Picard, good for him, looked totally fun. The whole Number of Lights game makes for some really fun memes. He's a very memorable character, and like any Cardassian, weirdly deep for a villain, considering everything he thinks he's doing for the right reasons.
Well, I think in a way he's sort of our first real. A lot of what becomes entrenched in the ideas of Cardassian culture started with him.
I agree with that.
I think a lot of the idea of the Cardassian focus on family and just how much the state is integrated into private life was really writ large there.
Yeah, I feel like, Deep Space Nine got to run with that.
Yeah.
And it's all thanks to Gul Madred, I believe.
Totally. Before that, they'd just been another villain.
Yeah, they just showed up briefly for O'Brien to be racist at.
Yeah, we knew they weren't super trustworthy because of the episode with Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
But this actually kind of gave them more idea into their culture just beyond, all right, we know they're villains, but why?
Yeah, exactly. Someone else go.
All right, I'll go.
Jake has figured it out.
Yeah.
Still Armis 3 times.
Still Armis 3 times. Yeah, so I'm going to go with, it's funny you just mentioned him. I'm going to start with Captain Maxwell, Benjamin Maxwell.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's a good one, Jay.
And the reason I include him is because he's not really villainous. He's not like your traditional, he's not like a mustache twirlingly evil man. He's actually a pretty good man.
Yeah.
But
he's right, but he goes it all about the wrong way.
Wounded.
Ah.
Yeah, and I don't know. Because I like the performance the actor did in that episode, and I think he's very much like Commodore Decker, right, from the Planet Killer.
Doomsday Machine.
Yeah.
Doomsday
He was one
Machine.
of Chris's favorites when we talked TOS stuff.
He's very, it's a similar kind of guy where it's like, yeah, he's just kind of gone crazy from bad shit happening, and I understand why he does it, and he does, but he does bad shit, so I count him as a villain.
Sure.
Next up, another. We're gonna go with another Badmiral. Although I guess Maxwell.
Badmiral.
Yes.
Badmiral.
Give it to me.
I'm going with Pressman.
Already wrote it down.
Who is Will Riker's old commander on the Pegasus.
Thank you. I was like, which one's that? There's so many bad admirals.
Yeah, John Locke.
Yes.
I have some honorable mentions, and if no one says them at the end, I'll mention my honorable mentions. But yeah, I don't know. Again, because he is kind of mustache twirlingly evil. But again, I feel like it was a great performance. Terry O'Quinn, who we all know and love from various other things. So yeah, I don't know. And like, again, it's a situation where he's sort of, in the same sense that Maxwell was, he's sort of maybe justified, or at least justifies it enough to himself that you can kind of get into his head and be like, okay, I see what you're doing. In both cases, they're like, yeah, no, we're gonna, if I don't do what I'm doing, we're gonna be at war. In Maxwell's case, it's with the Cardassians, and Pressman, he thinks it's the Romulans.
Being visible.
So it's interesting to have two villains that kind of come from the same mindset. And then the third, the most vile of villains, the most villainous of villains.
This is your number one then.
This is number one.
Oh, this is number one.
By a mile.
I'm already writing it down. Let's see if I'm right.
I don't think you are.
No.
Because it is...
Tell me if I was right, Caitlin.
Blue Barrel.
Really? Really? Are you is that a joke one?
Yes, that's a joke one.
Damn it!
But I was building it up for that specific reason.
Is the blue barrel on the poster? Because it should be.
It should be.
Oh no, I don't think it's gonna be on the poster.
I mean, here's the deal. So.
Oh, I've been Googling this shit when I could just be looking at this poster.
It almost.
I mean, I've had a list for days, nay weeks.
Oh yeah, look, there's. Oh, I guess both Maxwell and Pressman are on that poster, so they
course
are.
they are.
I am justified.
Obviously.
Let me see if I want to actually change my final answer just by
Jesus
looking at the
Christ.
poster. Well, because I had a plan, but I want to check.
Jesus Christ.
I can't believe there's no.
In case there's somebody I
I
forgot
can't believe
about.
it's not butter.
I can. It's oil. Oil's shit.
Yeah, it's gross.
No, I'm
I
gonna stick with what I had. But yeah, no. Okay, so anyway, let me justify Blue Barrel for a second.
Good. You talk about Blue Barrel and then tell me your actual pick.
So, took out Worf
Good.
almost permanently, as we know.
As we know. It is known.
Tried to take out Riker if there wasn't Q Girl nearby.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Although, to be fair, it was probably Q that threw the barrel at him in the first place. But that's beside the point. Blue Barrel, bad news. Almost destroyed the Enterprise in disaster when they were in, because there were blue barrels in the cargo bay that were going to be too close to the plasma fire, and if they blew up,
That's okay.
Wow, you.
Plasma fire and blue barrels are on the same team.
I think we could make a case for Blue Barrel being the most, because the thing that makes it worse is nobody suspects it.
No.
They're just hanging out in the cargo bay. No one thinks, that Blue Barrel's up to no good, isn't it?
We should stop stacking them like that.
Yes.
Fools.
Yes, actually, really, the
power.
true villain is lacks workplace safety standards.
Starfleet OSHA is not good enough at their job.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, no. Okay. So my real number one answer is Gulmy Dread.
I wrote Sati.
Oh, I was going to honorable mention
write
Satine.
She was so a Jake choice, but yeah, I do love a Madrid.
Who's Sati? I don't remember who that
She was
is.
The drumhead.
The drumhead. She was the crazy racist Badmiral.
Retired Badmiral.
Yes.
Was
Actually,
basically
it would be Badmiral retired.
You're right. The one who's like leading the witch hunt for the saboteur on the Enterprise.
Yeah. No, she's fantastic and well acted.
She pulled up my grandfather kind of speech, and then Picard was like, "Your grandfather wouldn't put up with any of this," and she cried.
And for me, it was really kind of a coin flip between her and Pressman for that spot. I think it was always going to be Madred at the top, just because Warner's performance.
Yeah. What do you like about Madrid? Tell me.
I mean, he's an interesting character. He's got an interesting backstory.
They have a wombat.
He's got a cute little critter. He's and it's just portrayed so expertly. Mm-hmm. I think that's the thing that ties in my three choices would be the fantastic performers, really really strong actors. And and Sati would definitely also rank as well. I think when I said I had some honorable mentions, she's high on my list of who I'd bring up because again, really good performance. So if nobody else says Sati, I can.
We have mentioned her now.
Yes,
Honorably.
I'm gonna go with. Am I allowed to treat them as a singular?
Is it the Duras sisters?
Yes.
Then yes.
Okay, the Duras sisters. Because
Nice.
they're always just scheming, and they're bad at what they do, but they always cause some sort of shenanigans.
That's true.
Speaking of bad at what they do, we all know I love the Romulans, because they're so bad at what they do.
They're pretty bad.
So I've got to say Seska.
Yay!
'Cause she's-
Wait, Sela.
Sela.
Yay!
So bad at what she does.
She's so ridiculous.
Like all Romulans, the plans are just too complicated
I mean, even-
and eat themselves.
Even Crosby's plan herself to, hey guys, can we have me back on the show and I'll just be Tashiar's Romulan daughter, is a Romulan fucking plan.
Yeah.
But it worked.
It did. And less interestingly, Gomadred.
Yay! It's all down to Caitlin.
Oh, man.
You've looked at the poster.
I have.
Blue barrel all the way down.
You've had several weeks to think about this.
Yep. And I've thought about it a lot. The original hissing, whip-bearing Ferengi.
Good.
Because though they were garbage, they gave us such wonderful things.
Does it also help you? Because next week we're talking alien races, so...
I mean,
I'm
certainly never going to say that the
them
Ferengi
again.
are my favorite in any other sense. Yeah, I think I hate to go with the crowd, but I was thinking of the Duras sisters as well.
They're fun. They are a lot of fun.
They are.
And I mean, they managed to blow up the Enterprise D. That's,
Well, Troy managed to blow up the Enterprise D.
Well, she crashed it. They
I
blew it
mean,
up.
really though, here's the thing.
It was Malcolm McDowell
It was
getting
Malcolm
them the
McDowell
code.
getting them the code. It was the torture of Geordi that
Yes.
led to this success.
Still, she blew up an Enterprise, which previously we only saw done by Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
And Madrid
Oh, great.
as well, because...
Madrid sweep. Last week we had a KLR sweep. This week we have a Madrid sweep.
We got to get those two together.
Oh,
Oh,
damn, that would be
shit.
hot.
I'd watch that.
I would too.
Download it right now.
Already in my brain. But yeah, for obvious reasons. Plus, I'll never get sick of saying, for likes.
Eating his disgusting egg in front of Picard. Man, what a creeper.
Oh, that reminds me, I have an honorable mention.
Do it.
Well, when Caitlin's done.
I'm done.
That's it.
That was it.
That was 3.
She said the Ferengi.
Oh, right, the Ferengi. Honorable mention to that fucking guilt trip Picard laid on Cedo Jaxa.
Oh.
Woof.
I mean,
I don't remember this particular guilt trip.
She is. I mean, I don't know. You think Picard shouldn't have guilted her that bad?
Yeah, into a fucking suicide mission.
No, that's fair.
Jerk.
Oh, yeah.
Still rubs me the wrong way.
You were friends with Wesley, therefore I'm going to get you killed.
Actually, I mean, yeah, it's true.
No Moriarty and Laura lovers here.
No.
Or
Well,
are we,
I don't
are we
think
waiting?
of-
Are we waiting to see what they do in Picard season 3?
Here's the thing. I don't think of Moriarty as a villain. I know he was, but I don't think of him that
He
way.
was a villain. He was certainly a villain in
Adversary for sure.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't actually include Q on my list because I don't see him as a villain as much as a
Pain in the
antagonist.
ass.
an antagonist. Yeah,
Which is what I said last week, I think, actually. Or something similar. I agree, because he's not a bad guy. He's just kind of like a shit stirrer.
I did.
He's a bad boy.
I did
Oh,
consider
yeah.
saying. I did consider saying Sung because I don't think he was a moral
Yeah,
man.
No,
He was a psychopath.
Kevin Uxbridge.
Yeah.
I never considered Lore.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Kevin
Lord of
Uxbridge is a bad guy, I guess, but he's not a villain.
Right.
Because he doesn't
He feels remorse, so he doesn't. He can't be that
He
bad.
did something horrible. Like the problem is, but basically he had a heat of the moment. But the problem is he is a god, and
Yeah.
he, when a normal person has a heat of the moment, they say something or regret, they break something. He wipes an entire species out of existence.
Oops.
Yeah, I want to. I don't know if I'd call this an honorable mention, but I do want to give a shout out, I guess,
Yeah, do it.
to my boy Tomalak. Because I don't think he's a great villain, but I don't know. I always liked seeing him.
Yeah, sure.
You know, when his goofy head popped up on the view screen. I was like, all right.
I mean,
Tomahawk time.
I love when Romulans show up.
Tomahawk time.
When Romulans show up, something stupid is going to happen, but in the best way.
I even like Romulans in Picard season 1, so good call.
Well, and, I mean, one of them was just plain
Who else
pretty.
do I want to shout out here?
Yeah, my last one that I wanted to shout out, because, boy, what a dick. Kiva's fucking Faja.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Faja.
That's
What
like,
a dick.
that's what's interesting is
Scumbag.
like
Oh, is
I,
that the collector?
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
I thought of him, but like I immediately it's like
I didn't want to give him the satisfaction.
Well, that's the thing is like I hate him. He's a great villain that like he's awful, but I don't like love him. I don't want him to be around. You know, it's like fuck you. You're the worst. Like he's a good villain, but he's not a lovable villain. If that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. I know Chris prefers his villains lovable.
Cuddly.
I prefer them borderline incompetent.
Okay, in terms of lovable villains, how about Space Ghost?
Coast to coast.
Ronan? Bev's boyfriend?
Bev's boyfriend?
Okay, that's
No.
okay.
That's not the right kind of lovable.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a little. It depends on how much they're actually consenting. He might be creepy.
Actually, speaking of creepy, though, actual creepy piece of shit, dude from Violations.
Oh yeah, again,
Chev,
like
I
not
think.
Big time.
two-
not someone you like at all.
No,
Yeah, not
someone
a-
that makes you feel filthy.
Yeah.
Not in the fun way.
No.
Oh.
No, not like
In the I need a fucking bath right now way.
Yeah.
Not in the fun way.
Yeah, again, not in the I need a bath and I need him to come with me kind of way.
Yeah, there's no bubbles in this bath.
Just soap and very hot water. And tears.
The water is tears.
Alright, it's getting weird.
Alright, it's getting weird. We got more for you next week. So as I alluded to a moment ago, next week we're still going to be talking some TNG highlights from years ago when we covered TNG. But, you know, why not cover it now? Because we didn't then. So next week is going to be our favorite alien races from TNG. We're also doing Voyager, because that's the thing we're doing simultaneously. We have more Voyager episodes to talk about. Episodes next week are going to be... Yep.
Mana.
Are going to be Memorial and Tsukatse.
Excuse me?
It'll be a fun
Tsukatse?
week. This is going to be
Bless
a good
you.
week. We're going to like this one. You'll see why next week.
Okay.
Until then, this thingy is up on our Tumblr where we talked about all the different TNG villains. You'll see all the pictures of their pretty faces. We also have lots of other blog posts you can click around through, like them, do the thing, do the whole Tumblr thing. You can do the Facebook thing, you can do the Twitter thing, you can do the SoundCloud thing. There's all the things. Do them all. 5 stars. As usual, this has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
This be Jake.
And this is always Chris.
I don't have a sign.
That's all.
Good.
Great.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? We should have like shock jocks will have like their it'll be like Dave and the
Spank Bank.
bear.
and the Spank Bank. Yeah, we need our own nicknames, our own shock jock nicknames.
Cheeky and the Buns.
God damn it.